Welcome back. A bombshell report reveals that the Biden administration is using taxpayer dollars to go after conservatives and Christian groups. Who would have thought? And then they're doing it with the Department of Homeland Security. According to documents obtained by the Media Research Center, DHS is using a program meant to fight terrorists to do this. During the seminar recently, DHS agent reportedly put this pyramid up. They shared this graphic, likening Christians and Republicans to Nazis. At the bottom of the pyramid, you can see Fox News, For Good Measure, the Heritage Foundation, National Rifle Association, the Republican National Committee, among others. The level above that includes Breitbart, PragerU, Turning Point USA. And the level above that, Nazis. Joining us now to discuss these comparisons, former New Jersey Lieutenant and U.S. Navy officer, Stephen Rogers, aka Captain America.
Well, pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So we've known this, our OAN viewers have known this is happening for quite some time now. This isn't shocking news to us. Thankfully, there's some evidence now that the mainstream media won't be able to ignore, right? But I have a feeling that they're going after certain groups because these have been the groups that have been putting up the most resistance and have been the most vocal about speaking out when things kind of just don't add up.
You know, there's a story behind this story that's not being talked about, but hopefully will be talked about. And that is, where was the originator of all of this? So where did they get the idea to go after these Christian groups? And I have found through some of the studies and research I've done is that all of what they're doing is coming out of the Communist Party playbook. The Soviets did this back in the 50s and 60s. The Chinese Communist Party is doing it now. And when you study how communists work, their first objective, their first target is the religious worshiping of God. It is going after their beliefs in a God. It's going after the beliefs and values that strengthen the family and strengthen the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So this is nothing new with regard to an attack on Christianity, but what's a bit new is in the 21st century is that the Communist Party has had great influence on the government here in the United States and other governments around the world, particularly going after the foundation of freedom, liberty, and individual rights, and that is a belief in God.
Yeah, they are just recycling the same play, as you said, people better start paying attention to history pretty soon and actually crack open those books. Unfortunately, there's a campaign going on which encourages our brothers and sisters that find themselves in the radical liberal cult to cheer on when conservatives and Christians are targeted. It's like they kind of don't realize that they're doing a massive disservice to themselves in the end, and it's only a matter of time till they're on the list too.
You know, you have nailed it perfectly because they do not understand actually what they're doing. It's the old story where the hunter has become the hunted. And I've all over this country, I've said, let me tell you something. When I address the left, communism is for a communist. And when you are drawn into a circle of individuals who are looking to take away your rights, your right to worship, your right of free speech, your right to bear arms, and on and on and on, you're becoming a slave to the very people who you are supporting. So you nailed it. You're absolutely right. Either they don't understand what they're doing or they're just totally oblivious to what's going on. They're adding more value to the Communist Party than to the freedoms and liberties in America. And there's something else you said that's very important, and that is people need to study, they need to learn, they need to read, they need to look at history. Because if you don't look at history and learn from history, history is bound to repeat itself.
Right, and I think we're systematically kind of bred this way, our population, because we kind of don't even understand when we're being manipulated. And a big red flag should be when someone's playing with your emotions, right? That's when you know you're being manipulated into a certain agenda. So if you're only getting your education through the system, I don't believe you're really ever taught when to recognize that that's actually happening.
Well, you're right. Are we really taught in our schools these days about the Constitution of the United States, about the type of government we are, a republic? We're not taught those things anymore. And this is why there's an emphasis on parents. Look, parents need to understand that the public school system in America is broke. And what they need to do is to sit down and from time to time talk to their children about the great heritage of the greatest country in the existence of mankind, the United States of America. Our children need to know, they need to know that they are here today and they enjoy the freedoms and liberties they have by one simple photo that parents could show them, and that's Arlington National Cemetery. Look at that, explain who's buried under those tombstones, and it may have a little bit of a shock value that'll wake up some of our children. And I'm not talking about elementary school, high school, and college students. They need to know. They need to look at what you have on the screen, and they need to know that those people shed their blood so that today this generation can be free.
I think you're so right on to say that point. When Americans are taught to not be proud, to be American, I mean, what does that do to a person's sense of self and pride in their personal heritage? It's not even a class categorization, but if you're white, you should be ashamed of that.
Well, Communist Party lesson 101 again, demoralize them, desensitize them, make them fearful of anything they say in support of America, that there'll be consequences. But I would suggest this. I truly believe there are millions upon millions of Americans, especially young people, who love this country. I believe people understand. I believe they get it. But they can no longer remain silent. They can't say, well, the next guy's going to do it. Because you keep on saying the next guy's going to do it, and nothing's going to get done. So I've shared with people, look, stand up, get involved within the framework of the law. Get involved in your local elections. Run for school board, city council, mayor, state senate, state assembly. Run for president of the United States, for goodness sakes. But do something. And in addition to that, I always say keep things in prayer. There's a God above. Pray for wisdom, understanding, and knowledge as to the challenges we have. But I believe that there are many, many people that, you see this flag right here, that love this flag, and that they are going to be flying it very soon, as we know, over the next few weeks in this country, because they have undying, unrelentless pride in America.
I love your positive message. We definitely need more of that, and it is all about unity. Because it really is mind-boggling to think that Americans, right, are being targeted by the so-called American government for being proud of their country. I mean, does anyone know how lucky we are to have been born in a nation where we can even exchange these ideas and perspectives and information and think for ourselves?
Well, you're absolutely right. And this is why we the people, this is why you all on One America News. I mean, I watch all the networks, and you guys over there at One America News have done an outstanding job in bringing facts and bring pride to this country. I mean, so you're doing your part, I'm doing my part, and we ask the viewers and parents to do their part. Just expose their children to something more positive than what they're seeing on the mainstream media and what they're reading in the schools. And you know what that more positive is? Take your kid out to a museum, World War II, Vietnam, take them to some memorials, and just spend a few minutes and share with them something that the schools will never expose to them. And that'll ring a bell. Don't underestimate kids. That's what I say. They kind of get it when mom and dad start bringing it to them. And like I said, that's how you plant the pride of America in the heart, soul, and spirit of your children. And you know what they're going to do with that? As they get older, they're going to carry it on to their children.
Well, as you know, it's not easy, but it's well worth it. Captain America, thank you so much for speaking up. Thank you so much for your service to our country and your continued service to both the United States and Canada. You're doing double time.
Yes, we are. And thank you for your service and your network service to this great country. Thank you very much.
Thank you.